Yeah, so here we go again. It is Thursday, I believe. Yeah, Thursday, 2024 hyphen oh 07 hyphen 11. The time is 21 past 10 in the PM. I'm here kind of on the road, around me mother's, around my home region of the country. Just spent past 3 hours in a good yawn with an old friend, a friend of my dad's, formerly, I guess. Had a good time. That was totally worth. As for my writing, I have managed to write all of my filler pages. It ended up being 29, which means the main part of the work will have to be 11 pages, but I can use illustrations since I want to make that less. And I believe I can actually write 11 pages of matter. That matter. Haha. Drink of choice tonight is Monster Energy Blue White, because it's what I got a crate off at this time. Excuse the noise, I'll just be silent. That's what I get for halting in the countryside. A tractor just driven by, surprise. Farmer's got a farm, you know. The weather today is bloody hot. Earlier we had 28 degrees centigrade in the shade. Somewhat humid, there was slight drizzles going on. Cloud coverage is about 35%. Some of it thin clouds, some of it very thick clouds. The rest of the sky is blue. Surprised the sun is about set. We're about past with blue hour, I guess. My health, both mentally and physically, is not of the greatest because I've kind of compromised it for the sake of getting my filler pages done. That is now over, so I'll be able to get to see some people in the next couple of days, pack the car, maybe do a bit of academic work, but most of that I'll probably end up doing next week, because I'll have time. I still got 2 weeks before I got to have a deadline printed. Nice, you know. That's a real solid one. I'm happy about that. Ah. My bed actually collapsed yesterday morning early. I managed to bodge it back together, not for long though. It fell apart again in the evening, and I have now temporarily, permanently botched it. Bodged, not with Delta, not with a Tango, so not half-assed, but not proper. It'll hold. It requires tie down though, so the bed work. My mum was considering replacing it, but realistically I know you just need to add one tensile strap in it for that to not occur again. And that can even be a cloth strap or tie down, just screwed in with some washers, you know. I might do that, I might not. We'll got to see. Yeah, we got to see. I've actually used the language construct Yolaluf unironically earlier today, and then because this friend happens to be an English teacher, we even discussed the idea of Yolalufad. Yolalufed. There we go. Which theoretically is okay English. People will understand what you mean, particularly if you put the apostrophes where they belong. It's just obviously a heavy abuse of language, but that's the fun in language. While I'm here in town, which is only about 48 hours, according to plan, if all goes smoothly, maximum 72 hours, realistically. I'll still have to drop by the bank, ask why they charged for something I never received, and I didn't ask for. I want my money back. Beside that, I ain't got much to do besides pack the car, which is going to be hella packed. I mean, not by weight and not by volume, but by perceived volume. It'll be at least one layer high all the way along. All 3 meter something loading bay will be completely full. I've decided I'm actually using the Praktikabel, the bit I've borrowed from my former place of internship, to help secure the load. On the way here it was part of the load. I think now I'll set it up upside down to act as load cage, because I can tie that down rather easily and I can chuck a load of small stuff in it. So that's going to be something. It's surprising how little driving I'd done here while I was here. I mean, when I drive somewhere and driving detours, earlier to this friend I'd driven approximately 4 times the distance I would have had to get to them. But I just drive the ways that are fun. Then again, it's also increased risk of accidents with unnecessary driving. And I witnessed that very much so when earlier I had the right of way. 70 kph speed limit, cars looking to join the road. The first one was going to go no problem. Second one was a huge Sprinter, believe L3, maybe L4, with a long trailer, 1 or 2 ton trailer, metric, gross weight. And I thought that was going to be close, and I dropped the gear for him. And then the car behind them pulled out as well. And I came to a full-on stop, fully hitting my brakes and all. I came to a stop 10 metres before I would have collided with them, but I'd rather come to a stop too early than too late. And they did not as much as acknowledge my existence, which I found somewhat odd. Because you'd think people that have, the delta is important in that case, some kind of shame, you know. It's just apparently not everyone have that. Some people are perhaps too senile to even notice them obstructing others. A lot of people argue in favour of driving examinations once you reach a certain age. I understand their point, but in my book it would already be very helpful. If once you're above a certain age, if you have stupid accidents that are your fault, you got to do that. Not without it. Obviously, we'd prefer to not have accidents, but one don't want to take away the elderly's mobility, in my book at least. But some people just have like 2 or 3 consecutive accidents before their family ask them to please stop driving, which is not the right way. I mean, come on, if you have one stupid accident, hey, you might want to reconsider then, particularly if it's your fault. I mean, if someone ran me while I'm in my lane, I'm not going to reconsider. But if I ram someone, I may want to reconsider how fit I am for driving. Even just visit driving school again, you know, that's going to make a difference. For driving, in my opinion, though it is necessary for mobility in some rural parts of the country, which are not very rural to be fair, I don't believe there is a distance of a place where one can be more than 7k away from civilization in this country. Don't quote me on that though, I might be mistaken. But it is a part of mobility, but it's really a privilege. I mean, you don't got to have a car. It make life easy, and I'm no asking that, no questioning that. But you know, is it worth making your life easier if you're putting other people in harm's way for you are not safe to drive? Perhaps reconsider. And I mean, I know people who do not drive by the rules of the road, and it's just not worth my energy to discuss it with them. I can't convince people to obey the rules, and I can't explain the rules to people who haven't understood them before, who've been around for decades before I've been, you know. I mean, come on. In the end of the day, they haven't had a single accident all this time. Who knows? They might have had some tailing behind them, but if they don't see them, they don't happen. I guess that's the way it works. Funny how that works. That's actually something which people underestimate, is how likely they are to cause an accident behind them on places like the Autobahn. Hell, if you pull out and cut someone off and they got to slam the brakes, lose control of the vehicle, that's 5-6 vehicles, assuming some traffic, completely wrecked. And the initiator then drive away not even noticing, because it all happens behind them, but the initiator happened to be a person who never checked their mirrors. And even if they were to, they probably wouldn't notice, because you got to have a brain. I don't know. That's not fair to assume of people, though, you know. I've been meaning to sit down and talk more to myself, but I just haven't been leaving the house all that much, so I actually went shopping yesterday, and I did not sit down because I had an appointment, a social appointment after. Going for a walk with a neighbour. Did a couple of Ks, probably 3 or 4 actually in an hour, so that's not too bad. Case referring in this case to kilometres. And we've had 10 minutes, surprise. There we go. The camera's now going to beep at me. Yeah, I reckon people causing accidents should be held more liable. I mean, one see it, obviously I have some biases because I do watch a lot, if not most, the dash cam channels there is for German, all the narrated ones that is, that I'm aware of.
Recording, 3 channels started.
Recording, 3 channels started, surprise that. Right on topic, dash cams. I do watch a lot of those, so I am rather biased, but these things, so many of them, should never happen if people are fit to drive when they do. I just don't get it, you know. I mean, I have been not fit to drive in the past, and I have pulled over for a half hour's break not far from my goal. From my target. Getting to destination. I guess it takes some reflection, which is what I'm doing here. Hello, my name is Ben. This is my substitute for therapy. Thank you very much for watching it. It means well to me, truly. I guess I am doing that here, which means I do it more in my life in general. I mean, the hours I have spent reflecting. I don't know how many people spend this many hours, but it is somewhat of a privilege to be able to. But in a developed country like this, I suspect most people have the time to. They might not want to make the time to, but they can make the time to. Which in my opinion is all it should take to be able to reflect. Hell, I mean, you can reflect while driving. Just don't drift into the neighbouring lane. And don't run up someone's arse. It's not that hard. You know. That's what she said. Ha ha. I am really happy I've got my filler pages sorted. I'll still have to adapt the methodology section of my current work that I've already written and the header of the page filler of the case study. But that's minutes of work, not hours, so that's easy enough. And then I'll have to do the actual work of saying, oh, this, as seen in attachment 1, which is my shot-by-shot breakdown of Daniel Craig era James Bond title sequences. One hell of a title. I can refer to that, and I can say from this we see without actually referring to any particular bit of it, which is the only actual purpose these filler pages serve. It's 29 pages of nothing but describing what's on screen. But one can certainly say things like complex fluid dynamics and smoke clouds and so on are a motif, as in a leitmotif in German. So motif written with foxtrot of video art, in this case of James Bond title sequences. One by itself would be enough to say for motifs, but in this case I might as well say the series of these has these motifs. First off because it's few, and second off because I'll have more material to back my claims up. I reckon I'll still want to insert a couple of illustrations. Not for page filling purposes. I believe I got those down. I might even have to shorten my attachment by decreasing the font size. But for actual understanding's sake, just because it's easy enough, you know. Just small 1/6 of a page in height, strips of 3 images next to each other, pre-transition, mid-transition, transitioned. I can either take those from these title sequences or just make them myself. It's not that much work. Just for funsies, you know. I mean, if I make them myself, before transition and after transition would be black and white, and then I'd just work on the alpha layer because that's what matters for transitions. The other stuff don't really matter. I mean, you can also substitute the alpha layer with color layers and so on. But realistically, the alpha layer is what you use for the cut, you know. I mean, yeah, okay, with a color key, you can make color layers the alpha layer, but at the end of the day, for the cut, you need the alpha layer. Past couple of days I've actually spent writing at the dining table at my mother's, not outside, just sitting down, and it's worked surprisingly well. When I say past couple of days, that is excluding yesterday, because yesterday I was day before yesterday, because that is yesterday. Yesterday I was surprisingly unproductive. I only done the timestamps for No Time to Die, which I've written today. Initially I would have been done with No Time to Die yesterday, but I did not have the capacity, so I did not. It was as close to a day in limbo as I can have if I'm not living by myself, I reckon. So, we'll need those, and I've now had mine. Hopefully I'll function till at least Tuesday next week, by which time I believe I can afford another day in limbo. Organisationally, that is. Thank you very much for sticking around watching this. It truly does mean the world to me. Knowing I am being heard by someone, could be anyone, could be the person over there if there is a person there, and I really like that. That's part of the idea of these, I guess. I hope you too can be heard. Stay safe. I'll see you around. Thank you very much for watching. Cheerio.